Woohoo! Hello guys! I am Kristony Duyapat and I will be discussing to you the timeline of special education in the Philippines, particularly the important events that happened from 1950 to 1975. In 1950, the Philippine Association for the Deaf opened the school for children with hearing impairment. In 1953, LC Gadgets Village was established in Alabang, Muntinlupa, Rizal to take care of abandoned and orphaned children and youth with physical and mental handicaps. The following year, in 1954, the first week of August was declared as Sight Saving Week. Some private sectors supported the government's program for disabled Filipinos, and in 1955, members of Lodge Number 761 of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks organized the Elks Cerebral Palsy Project Incorporated. In the same year, the first parent-teacher work conference in special education was held at the School for the Deaf and the Blind. In 1956, the first Summer Institute on Teaching the Deaf was held at the School for the Deaf and the Blind in Pasay City. The following school year marked the beginning of the integration of deaf pupils in regular classes. In 1957, the Bureau of Public Schools under the Department of Education and Culture created the Special Education section of the Special Subjects and Services Division. The inclusion of special education in the structure of Department of Education and Culture provided the impetus for the development of special education in all regions in the country. Moreover, Baguio Vacation Normal School ran courses on teaching children with handicaps. The Baguio City Special Education Center was organized in the same year. In 1958, the American Foundation for Overseas Blind opened its regional office in Manila. For many years, AFAB assisted the special education program of the Department of Education and Culture by providing consultancy services in the teacher training program that focused on the integration of blind children in regular classes and materials production at the Philippine Printing House for the Blind. In 1960, some private colleges and universities started to offer special education courses in their graduate school curriculum. In 1962, the Manila Youth and Rehabilitation Center was opened. The center extended services to children and youth who were emotionally disturbed and socially maladjusted. In the same year, DEC issued Circular Number 11 Series of 1962 that specified the qualifications of special education teachers. Moreover, the Philippine Foundation for the Rehabilitation of the Disabled sponsored the second Pan-Pacific Rehabilitation Conference in Manila that convened international experts in the rehabilitation of handicapped persons. Another milestone in 1962 was the experimental integration of blind children at the Jose Rizal Elementary School in Pasay City. The first national seminar on special education was also held at the School for the Deaf and the Blind in Pasay City in 1962. It was also in 1962 when the St. Joseph of Cupertino School for the Mentally Retarded, a private day school, was founded. The training of teacher scholars at the University of the Philippines commenced in 1962 in the areas of hearing impairment, mental retardation, and mental giftedness under RA 5250. In the same year, the Philippine General Hospital opened classes for its school-age chronically ill patients. In 1963, with the approval of RA number 3562, the training of DEC teacher scholars for the blind children started in the Philippine Normal College. The Philippine Printing House for the Blind was also established at the Department of Education and Culture compound with the assistance of the American Foundation for Overseas Filipino Blind, UNICEF, and CARE Philippines. In the same year, the Manila Science High School for Gifted Students was established. In 1964, The Quezon City Schools Division followed suit with the establishment of the Quezon City Science High School for the gifted students. The year 1965 marked the start of the training program for school administrators on the organization, administration, and supervision of special education classes. The first institute on the education and training of the mentally retarded was sponsored by the Special Child Study Center, the Bureau of Public Schools, and the Philippine Mental Health Association at the Ateneo de Manila University. In 1967, the Bureau of Public Schools organized the National Committee on Special Education. General Letter No. 213, regulating the size of special classes for maximum effectiveness, was issued in the same year. In 1968, with the approval of RA No. 5250, the Teacher Training Program for Teachers of Exceptional Children was held at the Philippine Normal College for the next 10 years. In the same year, the first Asian Conference on Work for the Blind was held in Manila. In 1969, classes for socially maladjusted children were organized at the Manila Youth Reception Center. In 1970, the training of teachers for children with behavior problems started at the University of the Philippines. In 1971, the Department of Education and Culture issued a memorandum on duties of the special education teacher for the blind. In 1973, the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court of Manila established the Tahanan Special School for Socially Maladjusted Children and Youth. Meanwhile, in the same year, the first Asian Conference on Mental Retardation was held in Manila under the auspices of the UNESCO National Commission of the Philippines and the Philippine Association for the Retarded. Moreover, Caritas Manila's Special School for the Retarded was organized by Reverend Father Malin S.V.D. In 1974, the first National Conference on the Rehabilitation of the Disabled was held at the Social Security Building in Quezon City. The Southeast Asian Institute for the Deaf, a private day school, was established in the same year. The following year, 1975, the Division of Manila City Schools implemented the Silahis concept of special education in public elementary schools. 6 schools were chosen to organize special education programs for the different types of exceptional children. Until today, the Silahis Center continued to lead in the inclusion of exceptional children in regular classes. Moreover, when the Department of Education and Culture was reorganized into the Ministry of Education Culture in 1975, the Special Subjects and Service Division was abolished. The personnel of the Special Education Section were divided into 2. Half of them composed the Special Education Unit of the MEC, while the other half was assigned to the Special Education Unit of the MEC National Capital Region in Quezon City. In this lesson, you have learned that the special education in the Philippines is not stagnant. There were developments that happened over the past years and is continuing to develop at present.